Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Tuesday, January the 6th, 2026. I am recording this just right in the neighborhood of 30 minutes before the stock market is closing today. So I'm just exactly the opposite of yesterday, where I was a little bit behind. Today, I am a little bit early, but I just wanted to make sure I covered some things and got this out on time. So let me shrink my browser down a little bit so that'll actually look a little bit better on the recording. There we go. So with 30 minutes left to trade in today's market session, we've got the Dow Jones up another 500 points, another big day for the Dow. S&P up very solidly. And after being a little less certain, the NASDAQ is up really nicely as well. The reason I say a little bit less certain, the NASDAQ it wasn't doing as good earlier today. Looking at this one-day chart, started the day, pretty decent, wobbled a little bit for that first 20 minutes or so. And then it really got some steam and got moving up. Then it slid and went way down and very gradually, but somewhat steadily came back up. And with, like I said, with a little over, let's call it 25 minutes left to trade, it kind of appears that it's going to just hold right up in this area. Now, 25 minutes in the stock market, especially at the end of the day, can seem like an eternity. It can seem like forever when you get to these last 25 or 30 minutes of the market, especially like the last 15 minutes of the market. It's not at all uncommon to see things kind of reverse, or if you've got a big gain, you give up some of it. That's kind of a more common occurrence. Occasionally, it'll accelerate a little bit into the close. A lot of variables that can take place there. But hypothetically, let's say that we close today right in the neighborhood of where things are at right now. That makes an awfully good run to begin this year. You look at Friday, you look at yesterday, and you look at today. And boy, in spite of those last 4 days of December, you've more than made up for that in the first 3 days of January. And so by some people's definition, if we have 2 more days that are even just a little bit to the upside, or even flat for that matter, by some people's definition, you've got a Santa Claus rally. So we'll see what happens and if we actually finish there. The Dow having a really good start to the year, 3 days in a row of really impressive movement up on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And after starting a little bit, just ever so slightly to the downside, I think at the beginning of the day, it was down just a little bit. But man, look at the way Caterpillar took off for another day. They started, you can I know it's small on your screen, but you can see they opened pretty flat. They went down and were down several dollars a share, and then they went up quite a ways. They've given back a little bit, but still almost another percent up right now, and they've been up more than a percent earlier this day. So Caterpillar, our trade on Caterpillar this morning opened up like right at the open of the market. I even ended up going back and adding one more contract at a much lower price when Caterpillar was down a little bit. And there's the one-day chart. You can see they started out, they dipped a little bit, came back, dipped a little bit, and then they were just off and going. And they've given back a little bit of it in this last hour, but maybe Caterpillar rallies and gets back to their session highs before this market closes. All in all, looking really good. Amazon having an incredible day. Amazon up 3.5%. Look at this chart on Amazon. This just absolutely thrills me, because we've got the Amazon trade that we carried over from last year that was not looking very good. But this year, just if we zeroed it out for this year, this is the second day in a row of upward movement, and today is a big day of upward movement. I mean, smashing right through this level of resistance around 235-ish and just blasting up through right past up 241. I think Amazon, before their next earnings, I think they're going to probably back up here testing 250. I don't know if we'll see them get back to 260, but I think they're going to be testing 250 again before their next earnings. And ahead of that earnings, we've got just the long calls open on them right now. Ahead of that earnings, we will take this long call wherever it's at. We'll add a short call to it for some credit and use that short call credit to add a long put or a bear put spread just to get us through the earnings. If Amazon takes off after earnings, we'll unwind it or turn a bear put spread into a bull put spread. Um, we'll make an adjustment, but to protect ourselves from any loss through the earnings, we'll adjust this one. We'll end up doing the same thing with Walmart and the same thing with Nvidia. Walmart having a solid day today. That trade is up nicely from where it was at the end of last year. Our Caterpillar trade is looking great. Nvidia having a rough go these last couple of days. Nvidia, I think one of the only open trades in my portfolio that in the midst of almost everything else going up, Nvidia is just kind of flat. I mean, the sell-off yesterday, the sell-off today, these aren't like massive sell-offs. They're just really sticking in that range right there, just really tightly range bound. If you look at where they've closed for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's 9 days in a row. They've closed in a very, very tight range, up a little bit, down a little bit. But Nvidia, I think, is due for a big breakout. I'm sure they're being held down somewhat today by AMD, which great news for our trade. We got out of AMD with between a 6 and 10% profit just one day into that trade because they are just collapsing yesterday and today, and all from the time we got into the trade. So I kind of like that. It worked out really good for us. Some really nice profit in a really short period of time with AMD. So in and out of that trade in very short order. And look, as of right now, we're up a little bit in Coin and down a little bit in Palo Alto Network, but both of those are open until the end of next week or whenever we hit that target profit that we're looking for. Earlier today, Coin is fractionally profitable right now. Earlier today, it was a little bit more profitable. They're having a rough day today, but we've got well over a week and a half, so plenty of time for Coin to go up or down. And I don't think they're likely to get stuck in a range. Nothing. Look, they're going to come back up here towards this 280, or they're going to drop again to 220. I maybe, or at least down to 240. I don't think we're going to get stuck anywhere with them. If they go down to 240 or up anywhere close to 260, we're nicely profitable in the trade. We'll be in good shape there. Palo Alto Network, I would be maybe a little tiny bit concerned with Palo Alto Network were it not for the fact that we're trading right about the midpoint in between our long option strike prices. And that's kind of a good spot to be because you expect that they'll either take off to the upside or take off to the downside. You just don't want to see them get overly range bound. And they've got, you look at this last 6 months, I literally see these 5 or 6, 7 days right there is just about the only time this stock ever gets range bound for any period of time. So there's not much history of that happening. I do think they're going to take back off and come up to 190, or they're going to drop to 180 pretty easily before the end of next week. So we're in good shape on all of our open trades right now. Our collar trade's looking great. We're set now for the earnings at the end of the day tomorrow with APLD. We're profitable in the trade and looking to get even more so, completely protected. Really good spot on this. I know today is only the 6th and it's only the 4th, the 3rd or the 4th, third trading day of this new calendar year, but we are off to a great start and looking really good. I really like where everything is positioned. I don't see anything in my open positions right now that I have any concern over. SoFi, big sell off today on SoFi, but we're so well protected. We've got our long puts only a little bit out of the money. Our short calls gained some value today. We will roll long puts on SoFi out this week or next because the end of next week, our options expire. There will be a handful. I believe CoreWeave will have to roll some puts out. NVIDIA will roll some puts. Snap, SoFi, Uber. We'll get a lot of collar trade adjustments coming up in this next week to week and a half. And with every one of these collar trade adjustments, for people that are a little bit newer to the program, if one of these is a stock you want to be in, Look at what we roll to in the adjustment. That's always a pretty ideal time to enter a call or trade new for the first time, is when we're adjusting it, because we're typically doing that close to an earnings, and just around the right time out from an earnings. There's other times when we adjust, obviously, but close to earnings, we're almost always making some adjustments. So keep an eye on those, and you might find a really great opportunity to make an adjustment there. Um, I don't know that it was a really long podcast yesterday. I don't think I have much more than that today. Tomorrow, when I come on, we can talk about whether or not these gains held. Nasdaq down just a fraction from where it was when I started this podcast 10 minutes ago or so, and the Dow up a little bit from where it was, the S&P right about where it was. So chances are in the next 15 minutes, 16 minutes that the market is open, this isn't going to change a lot, but you never know. So if it does, we'll take a look at that and talk about that tomorrow. Regular podcast tomorrow, same time, right around the close of the market, give or take 30 minutes from the exact close of the market. And I'll be on Discord in the morning watching to see if there's any of our open trades that we want to get out of, or anything that we want to adjust, or anything that we want to add. And in the meantime, hope you had a great Tuesday and hope you have an absolutely great Wednesday. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.